When Bungie began developing games, they were exclusive to Microsoft's Xbox platform. Eager to break free from this restriction, Bungie was finally off the hook from their Xbox exclusive contract and began developing a game that they described would change the way people played console RPGs. Destiny was to be a groundbreaking MMO console game that mixed elements of first-person shooters and ordinary MMOs. But the Destiny that we all got in 2014 wasn't the Destiny that was originally intended. And so, in today's video, I'll be discussing the beta build of Destiny. Destiny began creating a lot of hype, especially since it was breaking ground by being one of the most expensive games ever created, costing Activision a whopping $500 million to develop. The game was also advertised as having a plethora of celebrities doing the voices for many of the characters. Bungie first teased Destiny as an Easter egg in Halo 3 ODST back in 2009 in a poster reading, "Destiny awaits," with a picture of the Earth and the floating orb. So this foreshadowed the fact that Bungie already knew what they wanted to create. In another Easter egg back in 2010 in Halo Reach, at the closing credits, Bungie left a message reading, "See you Starside." It is also believed this is a reference to their planned game, Destiny. Finally, after several years, on February 12, 2013, Bungie announced that its new IP would be called Destiny. From here on out, rumors, images, and concepts were leaked at a continuous rate, many of which were changed or omitted from the game altogether. To begin, let's discuss what I feel is the most important change, the story of Destiny itself. This is believed to be one of the first things that was scrapped and reworked entirely. According to Bungie.net user Diver244, who claimed to have been chosen with a select others to play and test an early build of the game. One of the reasons why his posts are still thought to be true is because Bungie has neither denied nor confirmed his story to be true, and his post on Reddit has since been erased by Bungie. Now, according to this user, the entire premise of the story was discovering that there was something wrong with the speaker and the traveler. The player would have been awoken by a character named Crow, who we know now as Uldren Sov, or the Awoken Queen's brother. He was set out to expose the speaker and the traveler for what they were. Now originally Uldren, or Crow, spoke with a different toned voice as well. This can be seen in the closed-door demo at E3, which was showed in 2013.
Why is the city breathing down my neck?
Why don't you put that down so we can talk?
Out here in the wild, this is how we talk.
In the original version of Destiny, players would also help Crow loot the Academy archive. Players would meet him in an early mission where they would have a standoff and work with him to find Osiris. According to a source with Bungie, his personality in this version was kin to that of Cayde 6's. He was later reworked to be Prince Uldren, and the Crows would be his spies. In addition to this, in the same demo it is also shown that players can spawn into the parties and dropped off via their ships. Now let's talk a little bit about a few early images released that indicate certain things that were intended or planned to be in the game but were scrapped or removed. Now several of these concept images were made available by Dorge Belbrook, a concept artist at Bungie, via his ArtStation page. One of the most interesting images he shares is one of an unused area called Factory Planet, inhabited by Cabals. This area would have been heavily populated by these large factory structures. He states these are unused concepts of an endless plane of factories on his website. This area seems very vast and complex, however it is unsure as to what planet this place would have been set in. Speaking of planets, while Saturn was made playable in the form of the Dreadnought almost a year later, Mercury was also meant to be a playable area in the early build of Destiny. Here is an early look at the design of the bunker Rasputin 2. He goes on to say that this was created by Jesse Van Diesch and created by assets by Bungie environment artists. Concepts for the array mission in Cosmodrome were also very different. Dorge stated, "I animated the array sketch model to make sure it would work before I passed it off to the people who made the production asset. This Venus Archive coolant pump was meant to be a prop in the Archive mission on Venus as well." There were also early tidbits of human colony exploration. Here we see an early concept for the human architecture on Mars and Venus. The artist stated that the art direction required that the buildings have recognizable floors and windows so as to maximize familiarity. Now this here is a very early image of a Rex workgate under construction on Venus. That little contraption there looks very interesting and would have been cool to have seen in the actual game. There's also this early image shown of an ancient hive structure on the moon. Speaking of the moon, there was also an ice portion which was supposed to be part of the playable build of the game, but was completely scrapped altogether. There was also a point in time during development where they thought about adding animals to the game. In this early image, you can clearly see a guardian with what looks to be a Siberian tiger of some sort, and the hunter next to him using a set of binoculars. Among other things are images of an alien inhabitant, these crazy pyramid ships, and different ideas as to what Bungie wanted the Traveler to initially look like. One last cool thing that I found was this flying dragon-like creature which could be seen in an early trailer of the game. Now let's discuss what I believe to be another very interesting aspect left out of this game. And that is this species you see here. While there is no official name for this race, many consider it the Moth Race. There are very few descriptions available in these concept images describing a nervous, hyperactive type, rotten beauty, stuffy, dusty, proudish, and also mentions that the older, more experienced ones are higher ranked and have more armor, which consists of dozens of layers of dead wings. Now when Destiny initially released, there were several images released that didn't make sense to many. Many of these concepts were later released in the expansion packs, so it may be possible that these moth people could somehow still make it into the game as future expansions or sequels come in. And the last thing I'd like to discuss is the original designs that Destiny was supposed to have for its menus. Back in early March, Bungie was at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco and hosted a talk titled Tenacious Design and the Interface of Destiny, which was hosted by Bungie lead UI designer David Candlin. During this presentation, he showed never before seen early mock-ups of what the Destiny menus and layouts look like. Thankfully, a member of Kotaku's team was in attendance and snapped these images to share with the rest of the world. And by looking at them, I gotta be honest, I like it a lot better than what we ended up getting in the final version of the game. Aside from that, I also noticed that in these images, the players were able to hold 10 items in each selection rather than 9. This is very big for me given the lack of vault space that is currently in the game. Another thing I noticed was this vendor's name, Gus the Slovenly, a weird looking cabal who would have sold items in some unknown place. Well, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Share the video and rate it if you enjoyed, and check out some of my other videos if you so please. And also check out Unseen64 and Bit Cultures for other gaming content needs. And I'll see you all next time.